but I just don't feel like he's going to get a lot of yardage. He may get a touchdown. I don't know if you can start him. I think you got to go with the first two guys you mentioned, Slayton and DeWilliams.
Didn't you say LT though, caller?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, LaDainian Tomlinson against Indy. You
okay,
have to
sorry
start
about
LT.
that. Yeah, I missed that one. Sorry about that. D'Angelo Williams and LT's who I'd go with.
Okay,
that's who I put stars by.
Yep.
D'Angelo and LT. Thanks for the phone call.
Yeah, I don't mind Slayton this week either, but
oh no,
I can't.
LT. No, you're right.
I can't say plug in Slayton over D'Angelo.
Nope,
you got
right.
a pretty good situation.
529-1450 is the phone number, 529-1450. We got another one on the line. Go ahead. You're on Fantasy Football 101.
Yeah, I've got two of them here. The first one is 2 out of these 4 receivers, Bernard Berrien, Donald Driver, Cotchery, or Roy Williams, and the real one to debate, Dante Culpepper or Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah.
The injuries killed me. Thanks. I'll hang up.
Yeah, they did.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh at you.
Jamarcus did pop up on the injury report this week, but he should be good to go. I almost am thinking Dante just because Detroit has to do something this week, don't they?
No.
At home on Thanksgiving. What, you don't think Dante likes turkey?
I know. And Detroit
Maybe
actually
too
plays
much,
pretty well on Thanksgiving. Well, hold on. They're not playing. We're not talking about the Thanksgiving game. We're talking about the Tampa Bay game.
Yeah, right. We're talking about Tampa. I know. Yeah. I know. I'm just saying.
Well, you threw me off. That's why.
Sorry. I said Tampa and Thanksgiving.
I think you got to go Jamarcus Russell. He's got a much better matchup, but you are in trouble, sir.
Yeah, not good.
I like Jericho Cotchery, and Don Driver's got a nice matchup. I don't know, man. This guy's...
I'm with you. I've got Driver as one of my studs this week. So I like Driver, and I'm with you on the Cotchery one pick also.
But Jacksonville has a really, really bad pass defense, so Berrien might not be a bad start. He's just got a bunch of regular
Farad
guys.
has not looked real good lately, and there's another situation where the quarterbacking play has going to make your receiving corps suffer. Farad has been a lot like Pennington. He's come back down to earth the last couple of weeks.
Who do you think weighs more, Dante or Jamarcus?
Man, I'll tell you what. Those guys, if they decide not to play quarterback, could be put on the line.
Oh, yeah.
I'd take Dante just because he's been out for a little while, you know. He's able to put on a little bit of poundage.
Oh, yeah.
And Jamarcus is like, hey, I'm still trying to make my way
Dante's
in the
looking
league.
pretty snug in that line.
I'd go Driver, Cotchery, and Jamarcus. That's just me.
There you go.
I saw him do that rolling thing, and I was like, man, you're playing on a team that's 0-10, dude. Don't do that, please.
Oh, I love celebrations of 0-10 teams.
Yeah, I know.
When they're down by 10, nothing better than that. 529-1450 is the phone number. We might be able to sneak in a couple more. We do have a couple of emails, though, that Mark has gotten the last couple of weeks. We can slip those in right here before we do our studs, duds, and sleepers for the week. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, this one, I got a couple last week that involved trading. I still think they're valid because there's still a lot of leagues who are in trading mode. It says, you guys have been great this year. This comes from Doug. You guys have been great this year, much better than the last couple of years. Hey. Doug, first of all, thank you very much for that. Yeah. I'm 7-3 this season and tied for first in my league. Your show is one reason why. The trading deadline in my league is next week. Any suggestion who I should go after? Yes, with me, any Colt with their schedule. If you can get a Dye, if you can get Wayne, if you can get Manning, absolutely, I'd go with that. Now, the one I got this week from Joel, guys, I have a really good roster, but never seem to pick the correct lineup. Join the club, Joel.
Yeah,
I'm 5-6, but I feel like I should be 2 or 3 games better if it wasn't for my stupidity. What do you guys do when you have 3 or 4 good players at a position but can start just 2 or 3?
And we said off the air what we usually do.
Well, I usually pick the wrong one, just like you.
Is lose that game.
I think the key thing with that, there's a couple things I look at. First of all, home or away. That will help in one. Also, find out what your opponent and their defensive strengths. That helps also. And then a lot of people don't look at this. Look at the offensive line for the players you're considering. If you've got injury to an offensive line, then that will tell you a lot of whether or not to start a player. You don't want to start a running back if you've got other options, if you're missing a couple of tackles or a guard and a tackle. That's a lot of things. I mean, a key thing that a lot of people look at they need to.
Yeah, that can really be a thorn in the side of a lot of offenses that people don't even think about. That offensive line is where it all starts. So if you're not getting protection up front, you're in trouble. Your passing game's in trouble. Your running game's in trouble. So you're absolutely right, Mark. That's one of the major things to look at, actually.
And you can also check the defensive injuries, too.
Yes.
Whether the linebackers, safeties, corners, whether those guys are injured or not, how much passing is going to be done in that game, or if the running game is going to be a benefactor because the defensive line's hurt. So, yeah, there's a lot of things to look at, really, and especially this time of year when it's crunch time and you need those wins, you got to look for those small things.
Absolutely. If your defense can't get anyone off the field and your offense is getting no opportunities, then, yeah, it's another thing you have to look at. It's really endless, the things you can look at for fantasy football. It can really drive you crazy.
And real quick, back to the trading thing, one thing I just wanted to mention, always look ahead, always look 3 or 4 weeks ahead of time, and always plan your trades, well, not always, but usually plan your trades around weeks 13, 14, 15, and 16 when the playoffs are. That's the key thing in trading.
No doubt about that. And some leagues don't have a trade deadline. So, yeah,
right.
we'll still get some trade questions.
Oh, yeah.
529-1450. Let's take a call. Good morning. You're on Fantasy Football 101.
Yeah, I was playing Miami's defense against New England this week, and I've got an opportunity to get a couple other defenses, but I just was wondering what your thoughts were on that, if you'd heard anything about injuries or could help me out there a little bit.
I don't know if I'd risk playing against New England. I had Miami's D last week, and then I dropped them. Picked up another defense this week.
Who could you get, caller?
Yeah, who's out there?
Well, Denver's available. I think Carolina's available. And, you know, the usual San Francisco, Seattle, those junkers.
Yeah, why not go out and get Denver? They're at home against Oakland. I mean,
or Carolina. They're actually a good defense.
Yeah.
I mean, Miami's just not really that good of a defense. I mean, I think they're 22nd against the pass. I'm not sure what they are against the rush, but they're not that good of a defense.
From a fantasy point perspective, Denver is actually not a bad idea.
Really?
You've got to look at it. I know they're a terrible defense, but they're playing Oakland, and who knows the kind of turnovers that will be available through that. That's the one thing when you look at a defense, don't go by just NFL. You look at fantasy possibility.
Right. And that's why I went Miami last week.
Yeah.
Their turnover ratio is actually really good, and they do put up more fantasy points than half the defenses in the league. So.
Yeah, that's why I had them. That's why I've got it still from last week. I haven't switched them out yet. And I was looking at that Denver matchup, but they've been giving up some points, and I didn't know whether I hadn't watched them close enough to see what kind of turnovers they've been getting.
Denver's not an offensive, Oakland's not an offensive juggernaut, so you don't have to worry about them scoring, 28, 34 points. You would think they'd probably score 17 points or so, but who knows what they'll do as far as fumbling and interceptions.
Yeah, I'd go get Denver if I could.
Yeah, for this week, for sure, get Denver.
All right. I appreciate the information. Thanks.
All right, thanks for the phone call. 529-1450. Can we fit in one more?
I think we can.